Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Namrata Sandhu from NS Doc Talk, and today we'll be talking about period hygiene products. Figuring out the right period hygiene product for you while you're on your period can be both confusing and overwhelming. No matter what we use for our periods, there are always ifs and buts. But just like no two females are alike, no two periods are alike. And your choice of menstrual product will depend on your needs and your comfort level. So let's weigh our options and discuss the pros and cons of various period products available to us. In this video, I'll be talking about the external period hygiene products which we use. The first period product that I would like to talk about are the age-old conventional sanitary pads. Love them or hate them, but we're all familiar with them. Sanitary pads are worn externally and they absorb the menstrual blood from outside. Now we have different kinds of pads available with us, both disposable ones and reusable ones. And they also come in different sizes. So you can choose a period pad depending on your flow, whether it's heavy or light. So we have different kinds of pads available with us, and we can choose the one that's most suited to us. Now the biggest advantage with these pads is the familiarity. They're easily available and they're very convenient to use, and there's no learning curve involved. The biggest con with the sanitary pads is that most of them contain questionable chemicals which could be carcinogenic. Pads are not naturally white. They're often bleached to get them that extra white color. Bleaching process creates dioxin, a highly toxic pollutant. The biggest problem is that most companies do not really mention what are the ingredients that they've used in the pad. It's really not mentioned on the packet, and that's why we don't know what we are really using. The second problem is that most females tend to not change their pads after 4 to 6 hours because of maybe cost issues. It could be because they don't know where to change the pad. There is no place to really dispose of the pad, because of which they use the pad for a pretty long time, which could result in skin infections, rashes, and it does pose a health risk. Pads can lead to bacterial growth if used for a long time. And sometimes when they come in contact with air, they also emit an odor which is not very pleasant. Another very common problem which people face with pads is that they tend to shift when you're wearing them, because of which there could be leakage issues. You end up staining your undergarments and also some of your pretty dresses, which is again a very unpleasant situation that you land yourself in. The biggest problem with the pads is our blissful ignorance of the fact that the pads contain products which are more than 90% plastic, with super absorbent polymer which makes them non-biodegradable. Did you know that plastic takes 500 to 800 years to degrade, which means to be broken down into small particles? And the smaller the plastic becomes, the more easily it can enter our homes, food, air, and water, which means that the pad which we so easily dispose of in the bins every month will hang around long after you and I are gone. So what's the alternative? Maybe switching to healthy, eco-friendly, more convenient option? Now the second product I'm going to be talking about are the disposable, biodegradable pads. Lots of companies these days are making pads which are biodegradable. They use banana fibers and bamboo fibers. They're unbleached and chemical-free. They're also fragrance-free, which is great because they're great for the environment. But the con with these pads is that they're slightly more expensive than your regular conventional pads, and also that even though they're biodegradable, the thing is that regardless of their biodegradability, they still add tons to the landfill. So the most sustainable and eco-friendly option to the disposable pads would be the cloth pads. The cloth pads are made of natural cotton fibers, so there's no health risk involved. When you wear them, even for long hours, there's no reaction. They don't react with your skin. The fabric is breathable, so they're much better for you and for the environment. The way to use a cotton pad is that you wear it for about 4 to 5 hours, and each time you take it off, you soak it in a bucket full of water for about 30 minutes, and then you clean it, and then you put it out in the sun to dry. Sun is a natural disinfectant which takes care of the proper disinfection of the pad, and yes, they're ready to use again. These pads are slightly more expensive than your regular pads, but then the good thing is that they can be used for 2 to 3 years. So in that sense, they're fairly cost effective. But some people do debate over the hygiene aspects of these pads. And also another con is that, if you're probably stuck in a flight or it's a train journey that you're in, if you're working for long hours, sometimes storage of these pads could be an issue because you don't know where to store these pads, So that is one con with them. But otherwise, they're the most sustainable and eco-friendly option to your disposable pads. Now, the last product that I would like to talk about are the period panties. These are specific undergarments made for your periods, which means that you can do away with the bulkiness of the pads, with the potential shifting of the pads. They're made of 100% cotton, they are washable and reusable, so they're even better for the environment. Now the period panties in the crotch area have a leak-proof layer extending from the front to the back. They're made up of super absorbent material that can take care of your period, but the problem is that they have to be obviously washed and re-washed each time you use it. Now the period panties can be worn as it is, or you could also use inserts. Now these inserts come with the period panties. These inserts can be used on days you're having really heavy flow, or those people who have heavy flow, they can use them as it is. Now these inserts are actually made up of cotton on the outside, and they have a super absorbent microfiber layer on the inside which takes care of your heavy periods. These period panties can also be used along with cotton pads if you have heavy flow and you don't want to use inserts, because those cotton pads are far more easier and more comfortable to use with the period panties. Now again, the con with the period panties are that you cannot obviously go swimming, you can't go scuba diving or all those fun activities you can't do wearing those pads, which is the major con I think most people feel with the regular conventional external period hygiene products. So that was all about some of the external period hygiene products which are available to us. Be wise, choose well, because women health matters.